What's up, everyone? So I'm just going to do a daily analysis of some coins. So the way I work when I do my daily analysis is generally either when I wake up or, whatever time I jump on and check the charts. I'll pretty much just go on Binance. I'll have a look at CoinMarketCap sometimes and just look at the volume, mainly of Bitcoin, to see where we're sort of trending and what's actually happening in the market. I usually go to the historical data tab, and this will give me an indication of volatility and how we're going. So we can see that, today sort of just trending in that $9 to $10 billion region. And if we have a look at the overall market cap, still sitting at about, the $130 billion zone. So we've been trending here for, around in this region for some time now, between the 130, 135 billion. But basically what I do is I go to Binance and I'll sift through the top of the BTC markets and the USD markets. I'll sift through, the top 10 or 20 volume coins in terms of BTC volume or USD volume. So we can see volumes actually, like, compared to normal Binance, volumes very high as of late. So I mean, even down to what this would have to be at least the top 30 coin. Ethos has still got, over 1,000 BTC volume, which I think is what, $3 million or more. So first coin that I'll look at is, and I'll zoom out to a 4-hour, is BNB to USDT. Now, nice consolidation pattern in this region. Binance has been on a really, really good trend lately, obviously to the upside. Now, if you had I can see here there was a clear break of trend this morning. I still wouldn't enter yet because I can see on the 4-hour at least that we got this rejection here and this previous resistance we've wicked out, and obviously the 4-hour closes in 5 minutes, so I don't think we'll break that. But for the time being, until we break above this topper region here with a clear, I'll draw that out for you, with clear conviction, this is not something that I went enter yet. That's sort of the zone of break above here is when I make an entry, but definitely something that, I've got my eye on at least, because from there, I don't think Binance has actually seen prices this high. Okay, we have, but yeah, okay. So really, once you break above this zone in the purple box, your next line of resistance is actually way here. So if you had a long-term position, that's 10% or so. So something for the long term, not something I'm interested in right now. But let's move on to the next coin. So if I go to USD markets, ETH/USDT. Now I always tend to go, I don't really like Ethereum as much. Just not enough movement ever for me personally, unless there's a really nice pattern form. So if I can see sort of the outlines of, I'll have to zoom into lower time frames. So a lot of people, in fact, this is something that I used to do when I started trading, was look at the lagging indicators here, as in the RSI and MACD, whether it's stochastics or your normals. But these are lagging indicators for a reason. So I don't base a whole lot of my analysis based off of these. My trading strategy as of late is just waiting for breaks of previous highs, which, as you can see here, I've still got this previous high here of at this 140 sort of level. Now MACDs and RSIs are great for divergences, both bull and bear, but for those of you who know divergences, it's really just hard to tell when you're going to get a breakdown. I mean, if I went to a 4-hour chart, see if this does a better picture. For example, let's look for a divergence. So I mean, there's sort of like a slight divergence here where, this indicator is trending down the RSI, but we have a slight up in price, but we still haven't really had that major drop. Now, I just don't like RSIs and MACDs as much. Well, the histogram on the MACD can be helpful, and obviously you've got these MACD curves here. And yes, you can run the argument that yes, when we have MACD crosses like we do here, it's indicative of you know, bullish upside and momentum. But I mean, look, this cross happened when this 4-hour candle had already closed up here. If you were to make your entry at 133, you could still exit at 138, which is probably, you know, a few percent profit from here to here, 3%. But I personally just don't like these indicators. I'd rather look at patterns and breaks of previous highs. You can see here that, you know, we had a previous high at 139-ish, and we still haven't been able to break that. Now I can see slight, you know, slight uptrend here. Maybe this is something I still wouldn't enter until, you know, we have that clear break here. So this is the 4-hour time frame. This could play out for another day or two. Something that I can note as well is ever since this previous high here, we've been seeing diminishing volume. Now that's always indicative of a break, generally a volatile break to either the upside or the downside. So hopefully with this play we can get a break to the upside, because if we are to get a close above here at this 141 region, you know, that gives us a really nice run of at least 12% to, you know, first I would wait for consolidation to this previous high here, which is still 5 to 6%. And then if you were to run up to previous highs here, you're looking at 13%. So that's just the way I trade lately. You know, another perfect trading strategy is, get rid of that, is obviously just waiting for bottoms like we have seen here, and playing bottoms. I don't like to play bottoms too much unless there's a nice consolidation. As you can see here, this actually would have been a really nice bottom to play. Reason being is because we had previous, and if I zoom back, yeah, so reason being, if we zoom back a lot of points on this chart, we've had, you know, resistance, 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 with heavy wicks on the 4-hour chart, and then, you know, quite clearly we had a resistance here, a support line here, and then we've consolidated really well. And once we got this break above, in fact, if we're going to a 1-hour time frame, you know, once we got this break above this region here, because we can see that there was like we started to form a resistance here, and once we got a break above that, where we broke up on this 1-hour candle here, broke up, I would look to start entering here, even though we had a slight pullback there. If I was to play the, you know, buying the lows or buying the dip strategy, I would wait for a break above. I would wait for consolidation after we've had this massive drop down, consolidate, break above previous high with, you know, a convictive candle, and then just stick in for the long run. And then obviously we run up to previous resistance. And if you had played that strategy laddering, and say your average buy price was around here, you're still looking at 7 to 8% over a, you know, 24 to 48 hour period, which isn't too bad. I personally don't play these dips at the moment. It's just the way my trading strategy is played out. But you know, all trading strategies are different, and I suggest you formulate yours, develop it over time, and just stick to it. Now, like I said, I will not enter F until I see clear break above there. So if we go to the next coin, which is XLM, and I'm actually liking this right now, just based off the fact that it's the top, yeah, it has the top, you know, 4th top volume on Binance, and we're up 7.2%. So there's a lot of volatility going on. Now, this might not be a coin that I'd enter unless there's a pattern, but you can see, like, it's just an ugly pattern for me. Bit messy, bit choppy. You could run the argument of saying, okay, on an hour chart at least, maybe even a 30-minute, once we have, I have to probably go into a 30-minute, but once we have a close above here, you might potentially want to enter there. If I look at previous highs, we're sort of in this cluster here, so that's why we've had pretty big wicks up to there, you know, or in that zone there. So if you were to make an entry, because we can see here we've had some, you know, 1, 2, 3 wicks in that zone. If we were to make a break above, you know, which this 4 hours actually starting to do, there could be some upside momentum. I would wait for a close above this zone, and then you could run that up to, where are we here? If we made an entry here, you could run that up to previous resistance for 4%. Not a play that I'd be looking at right now. You know, EOS. Okay, so some nice. So you can see this is what I drew yesterday when I did my analysis. Obviously we've broken below that, but I still have my resistance line in place, so still would not make an entry until we break above that. Now, sort of what I'm seeing at the moment, that's a very ugly pattern, but a clear break above this resistance here on the 4 hour at least, raise that up to there, means that we get a run. If we break above, a clear run above, oops, to at least this zone up here, you know, and that's a nice 14% profit, because you can see that this zone here is pretty congruent with this clustered zone here. So would wait for a nice 1 or 4 hour close above this, and then look, you can run that up from $3.90 at least to $4.30, which is fairly decent profit. Now I'll look at my board. I've got a few coins that I was looking at last night. EOS BTC. Okay, so similar sort of pattern. And I might wrap the video up here soon. Litecoin BTC. Okay, so still waiting for that break there. RBN. I think one that I charted up yesterday was, I think it was either Waves or One. No, it wasn't Waves. Had a really nice clean break. It must have been One. Yeah. So I charted this up yesterday morning. Obviously just drew the standard falling wedge pattern, and I had to adjust it a few times because, you know, you have these breaks below. If we go into a 15-minute actually, the way I like to do, and you can see I've drawn this descending triangle, but we've broken out of that, so that's now invalid. But you can see here I drew this falling wedge, and the way I play falling wedges is generally, and I say generally, is generally you will have your falling wedge, and most of the time you play resistance by duplicating. So say once we get a break of this top support line, the way you would find out where you would top out for a falling wedge is by cloning the bottom support line. So I'm about to clone, you can see the support line here, I've made it long and I've cloned it. I then take the support line here, which is the exact same line as here, and I take it, bring it to the top of where we start the falling wedge, and you can see that if I bring it here, it's actually where we topped out. So you could, this is actually something that I probably would not have entered after the break here, because I like to enter once we get, you can see that previous resistance was here. So yes, you can get a breakout, right? So we got the breakout out of the falling wedge here, came up to previous resistance. I would actually never enter until we get a clean break above on a 1 hour or 4 hour above this zone. You can see here that from this previous resistance, we've come down, hit this line, bounce back down to this support zone here, bounce back up, and once we got a break of not only this line here, this resistance here, but also this zone here, which now becomes a previous resistance, this zone you can see here, get rid of that, then, you know, we had a nice 15-minute close above. If I went to the hourly, you know, a nice close above there, then you'd start making your entries. You might even want to do it on a half an hour chart, 30-minute chart. But yeah, clean close above here, make your entry here, and then you ride that up for a very nice profit, you know, 13 or so percent. So that's one coin, and the way I would make that trade. This video is getting a bit long, so I might cut it there. But yeah, I think if you guys really want, I can start doing these daily analyses every day. So if you want to learn more about this and how I actually trade, then first link in the description, you can get my book. I think it's only 25 Australian dollars or 17 US, so very inexpensive, but definitely worth it. I think there's over 90 pages of content, which will take you from A to Z. And if you want to get into my private group for trading, which has a video for each chapter in the book that explains everything, as well as trades that I've made in the past, then let me know and I'll get you access to that. So That's it for today, and let me know how your trades go.